So my idea is sort of in the same space to a degree, and it's basically going after healthcare. And I mean, we all know that healthcare is just a mess, insurance is a mess. So my solution is basically in the new healthcare reform, there's a little piece of it that says in 2014, all doctors have to switch to using e-forms and stuff. When they put in data for patients, it's all electronic. So my idea is basically to set up some sort of application or program that takes in all that data and just number crunches it. So it can give you like an estimate of how much the risk is, how much they cost. And rather than needing a ton of people at an insurance company doing this math, you can have like 4 people at a company and a really smart app that's doing all the math for you and just taking in all the electronic forms. And it wasn't really possible before, but it goes in 2014, and if nothing else, like, if you can't sell it yourself, you can license it to all those health insurance companies. There's a lot of money. The other way to take it too is as a non-profit, because you can basically have just such a small, lean company that you can just take in charity to sort of reduce the price and then give really fair prices to anyone. Because if you have a terrible disease, you don't have to refuse that person. You can be like, look, here's the number, like, giving you a risk factor, we have to charge you $400 a month. But that person couldn't get health care insurance any other way unless, like, I mean, I'm sure that the health insurance companies will still find ways to deny you if they see you as a really high risk. But this thing could actually, like, measure your exact risk and give you an estimate, because it really is math. But a company like that can't afford to take that risk and do it, because it requires so much paperwork, so much manual calculation to figure out the actuaries. So that's my general idea. The one real major problem with it is just that, from my experience, or from my co-founder of my company's experience, like the healthcare industry is just a mess. Like, you have to still get doctors to take your insurance if you're doing some sort of insurance. Releasing this to insurance companies, you'll still have to deal with them. So you're still taking that risk that, like, even though you can create a great solution, can you sell it because you're selling to only a small group of people, or you're selling to a really stagnant company? So that's the only real risk there. But I think there's a real space for disruption there.
Would you be selling insurance?
So there's 2 models. You could go first with selling insurance, basically have it calculate out how much you can charge people and then charge a lot less because you don't have to have all the overhead. But then the other thing is a backup. If that fails because you can't get doctors on board, you can license it to major insurance companies.
Is it like the insurance of like the health insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you couldn't do that. I mean, you can't do that now.
Yeah.
Because it's all paperwork.
Do they have all those forms like spec'd out and like available online so you can see what forms they're going to be using?
I don't think so. So you have to build a system. But I mean,
I've seen part of that. They have, but it's like, frankly, it's like going and like using the IRS website. I mean, it's not something you want to do.
Yeah.
But I think you build a system to deal with it.
Yeah.
And it's basically gonna, unless it gets reversed in the next few years, it's gonna be federally regulated that everyone has to do it.
So basically, if I understand your concept correctly, it's more or less saying that if you want to like, almost like crowdsource this to a degree, you can essentially figure out the risk management profile of a certain ailment or something like that based on the number of people that.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that stuff already exists, but mainly the system basically just takes in all the electronic data from all the doctors for every patient, and when you sign up, it has all your patient data because it's capturing everything, and then it can just give you a proposal for like what your insurance would be.
But how can you get access to all the data? I mean,
Are there like HIPAA problems or something?
aren't they confidential and hidden and?
When you sign up, obviously you approve like them to access it, but it'll be all electronic, so it'll all be available.
I think
Okay, so it's for people that join this.
Yeah.
Data from those people.
I think they're just abstracted, aren't they? Like, in other words, like it just rather than your name, it just shows like some number, right?
Yeah, I think so, something, but I'm sure you can backtrack to that.
Is this a diagnostic tool?
It wouldn't be a diagnostic tool. It would be just for insurance. So I mean, I guess it could be diagnostic, but I think insurance is like the bigger market and like the bigger need because.
What's
So
the
it's
need
more
though?
risk management.
Oh, just that.
What's the problem you're trying to?
A, most people can't get insurance even if they need it, and B, like it's ridiculously expensive for people that shouldn't be ridiculously expensive for. Like it doesn't have the ability to be as flexible, but with like an automated system, you can be extremely flexible with your charging.
Yeah, I think it adds transparency to like how you're rated. Yeah, because like right now, I have no freaking idea how all that stuff is calculated and why I'm charged so much I am. And I'm probably getting charged way more than I probably should. If there was a system that would tell me like, here's how your risk relates to everybody else in the country, I could look at that and be like, why am I getting charged so much? I'm like in the bottom like 9 or 10%. Well, hopefully. But I mean, I think adding transparency to that calculation, there's a lot of value.
There's a company named Epic out of Madison, Wisconsin that does a lot of electronic kind of papering for hospitals that want to be ahead of the curve. They've been around for years. Be maybe a good starting point for you to kind of see what type of data they have around, whether they have APIs, I doubt it, but they might have some type of affiliate program where you could hook your engine up to them and see what type of data you can run kind of across your platform.
Interesting. Anything else?
So the customer on this is the insurance company?
The customer would hopefully be just like people looking for insurance, but like I said,
So like in other words, I'm a consumer, so I'm going to a site?
yeah,
Okay.
and you're just applying for insurance like you would anywhere else. But like I said, you still have to get the doctors to sign on board to take that insurance. So if for some reason you can't get the market penetration enough to get enough doctors to take your insurance, then you would have to go to a backup model of selling the technology to insurance companies.
Okay. So essentially, like, let's just say that you called this, XYZ insurer. You would have to get patients to sign up with XYZ insurer, and you'd have to get doctors to accept XYZ insurance.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's a double-sided market.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean that's the difficulty, but I mean there's ways to get around that. Like
Yeah, I was just saying, is there's any kind of like carrot you could offer that gets them to like say, oh, I've got to sign up for this kind of thing or something like that.
well, I mean the carrot's easy because you can just give way better prices than what insurance companies. Because I mean they need to hire thousands of people, and you're hiring a machine basically.
Well, and also the information, like just being able to pull like your information and see how you compare to the rest of the population.
Instantly,
Yeah, I would sign up for that.
Yes,
So
but
this is-
do you see, sorry, if I see an adoption problem, do you see an insurance buying a system where people could pay less insurance? That will not happen very fast,
Well, you're not selling to insurance companies unless you can't make it work the other way. So if you can't, I mean, the big problem is that you have to get both the insurer and the doctor on board, and that would be your first push, and that would be what your funding would go to. But you would always have the backup plan that you could be like, okay, we're shutting down this company. We're sorry, we can't make it work. And then you go to insurance companies and look, we created this incredible technology, so you can still regain your profits that way and still license fees. So that you don't have to go. You're actually competing with the insurance companies unless it fails, and then you're not competition anymore.
But I mean, what you're really doing is you're doing a health scoring system of some sort. I mean, it's like a FICO score for your health or something
That's a
like
good way
that.
to think about it.
And
Yeah.
why not stop at something like that? Why go all the way to providing the insurance?
In England, there's an insurance which provides you with some technology you put in your car. It will monitor how many miles you do per year, per week, or so. And depending, the less you drive, the less you pay. Makes sense. The less chances you have to make an accident. So it's the same principle. The better your health, the better your score,
Yeah.
the less insurance you should pay.
Yeah.
With the limit that in the insurance, there's a principle that is that you pay for people that are less healthy than you. That's
Yeah.
the whole system, because maybe you're healthy today, but what about tomorrow? So it's sort of, you're trying to improve something that's a very small number, I think.
But the big number that you're doing is just that you don't
Number of
need.
people,
Yeah, it's just that you don't need so many people. You don't need so many fixed costs on your side. So that's the big number. Is you don't need to have hundreds of employees doing the manually crunching of looking through papers, putting the paperwork in, testing everything. So that's the big the big change really.
Do you have any sense on like how much of an improvement cost-wise it is? Is it like 50% better, or is it like 10% better, or like I guess how much better is it than the status quo? In terms of the cost.
I mean, I just feel that if nothing else, the health insurance companies are charging too much as they are. So like even before you added technology, it still seems that if you could somehow break in that far, you could still offer a better price just because they're so stagnant. But with the technology and the competitive advantage, you're adding that extra thing. But I don't know the exact numbers.
Could you act on a commission basis with the insurance companies to initially raise capital? So let's say you go to the insurance companies and
Yeah.
you say, based on my algorithm, I can find you the lowest risk people.
Yeah.
And say, you can charge them whatever you want, but this is your lowest risk swath.
Mhm.
So insure this bottom 10%, everybody with a number under 100.
Mhm.
That's the people you want to insure, and then by bringing them those people, you can generate commissions to then potentially take them on. Because I think the problem people are wrestling with is, how do you raise the money to be an insurance company if you know what I mean? Like it's that
Yeah.
chicken and egg problem. So could you kind of do what DieTech or Lending Tree does, and the rest of them kind of find a way to pick out that best crop,
Mhm.
and then say, here, everybody I bring you, you give me $100.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a possibility too. But I think if you're doing that model, you might as well just go straight to licensing afterwards. So you're going after the easier targets. There's slightly less reward, but it's definitely a lot easier to succeed. So that's really a good way to do it too.
Fortunately, we were gonna have to cut it off there, but thank you for presenting. That was awesome.
Thank you.